Hi everyone and welcome. Today we're going to do sunset sails. Colourful, bright, easy, you'll love it. Join us. Right, today we have a selection of all the colours in our palette. So I have red, yellow, white, blue, green and black, but today I've also added purple. There are a couple of things I want to do with purple today. If you have purple, add that to your palette. If you don't, a mixture of red and blue will give you purple. Okay, let's start. First thing I want to do, I'm going to be using the big brush, the big background brush. And for this, I'm going to wet my brush, load blue on the brush. Quite a lot of blue. And that blue is going to go down about a third of the canvas down. Whatever size canvas you have, paint about a third of it down in plain blue. Now, because this painting for me is more of an abstract, in a way, I'm not going to smooth my paint down today. I'm going to be painting it with this crisscross motion, like that. If you want to smooth your canvas down, your paint down, you would then add some other colours. Say, let's add purple at this stage. I'm going to add purple into the corner with the same motion, the backwards, forwards motion, just to cover that. Now, while I quite like that flow of the paint, you might not like it. So what I would suggest you do is take a dry brush, completely dry brush, and if you take that dry brush and go over your paint as such, you can blend it in beautifully. See that? I'm going to retire that brush for now though, because for today I want more of a free flow of paint. So I'm going to put back the paint that I've already loaded on there. Let's just get rid of some of that purple. Dry that off, put some more blue on in that crisscross motion, like that. To blend my purple, I'm going to go over it in that same motion with the same paintbrush, and it blends the colours up. This is where it gets tricky, because from here I'm going to put yellow only. Now I've washed my brush off. Try and get as much of the blue off as you possibly can. There we go. On your cloth, I'm going to load that same brush with yellow. Now, because I'm going to be mixing the yellow and the blue eventually, I'm going to leave a bit of a gap. Paint all the way down my canvas with yellow. So the rest of the canvas is yellow, and you can see I'm doing it quite quickly. Reason being, I want to blend some of the colours. Acrylics dry so fast that you have to work quickly with them. That's the yellow. What I want to do now is make an orange sunset that comes in this area here. So I'm going to wash that brush off again, dry it, and then create an orange. To create the orange, I'm going to add a touch of red to the yellow. I might need some more yellow in this because my orange isn't quite as light as I wanted it. But let's use this. I'll put some more yellow in that palette just now. I'm going to mix my orange up into the blue. The blue is almost dry now. So what I'm going to do is just go over and over and over it with the orange, like that, across the edge. Wash the brush off. Make sure there's no mix of colours there. Let's add some more yellow to the palette since I have run out there. I'm going to make some more orange. And with that light orange, I'm now going to paint down the canvas, like that. See, it's still quite wet. So I want to paint down the canvas. Get a nice blend with the orange. You can even go over the blue again. Kind of blends it into a greeny colour, which is also good for my sunset. Make sure I have no more paint on that brush. Again, clean that off. I'm going to go for plain red now. Let's add some plain red to this mix. There we go. I'm starting to get a very nice mix of colours here for my sunset. Going a bit fast, I have a few splashes here. If you do, don't worry about that, because what I'm going to do now, wash that brush off again and put my yellow back in this area here. Let's blend some yellow right back in. Touch my orange. Take it down to about so. There we go. I wanted this feel of a free sky, so that's why I haven't blended in too much. As I say, if you feel that you need to blend, do so. Just now I'm going to go over that blue again and give myself a bit of a cleaner blend there. In fact, could possibly do it right now. Like that. Some blue across there. Blends that red in a bit more. So I've got a sky that's going from light to dark, blending into a twilight sky. Wash that off again. I want to keep this area here more yellow, so that's going to remain yellow because that's where my sun is setting there. But I have a horizon of sea where my boat is going to sit, so for that it's probably about a quarter of the canvas up. I'm going to paint a horizon in orange right across the canvas, from left to right, right to left, however it suits you. Try and keep that horizon as straight as you can, like that. I think that's probably about as straight as I'm going to get it. And then the rest of this I'm painting in orange. Like that. Ooh, let's try and get that straight. There we go. Paint the rest in orange. My sun is going down around here. So I'm quite happy with what I've got there as my background. I'm going to now exchange that brush for a round brush, and I'm going to paint in my sun, even though the yellow is still a little wet, because I want to know where my sun is going to go. My sun is going to go around there. You see, it's not quite in the middle of the canvas. I can add more white at a later stage. It's going to blend into the yellow now because my yellow is wet. But that is where my sun is going to go down. Let's wash that brush off and dry that off. Okay, now we come to the boat. Before I do my boat, though, I'm going to put a horizon line in with black. So I'm going to load black onto the same brush. You can load it onto a smaller brush. If you have something that's smaller and you want a bit more control, use that one. I'm going to use the same brush because I do have a point on this brush. So for this, I'm going to give myself a horizon line, which will go like so. Try and keep it as straight as you can, but if it's not straight, that's fine. It's a windy night out there. Let's put some black lines coming down. Just some shadow in my sea this side here. I'm going to do the same on this side. Give myself a horizon line. And then put some black lines coming down. Leave a bit of a gap here because my sun sets there. So let's put some horizon, some flat lines across the sea. It's quite a smooth night. Now, it hasn't dried, which is why my black has gone into grey. At a later stage, I will go and change that. In fact, what you can do now, wait for this to dry. Let's all wait for this to dry and come back when it is dry so that we can actually make the black look black and not a grey. Right, well, we're back, and it looks like this is fairly dry, so I think we're ready to carry on. At this stage, you can look at your picture and see if there's anything else you want to add to your background. This is background colour. I like this, but maybe you want yours a little bit more colourful. So at this point, this is where you can take your big brush again and add some more colour should you want it. Remember, you have to wait for it to dry before you put your boats on. But at this stage we can, and I want to just show you quickly, add some more colour. Because your paint has now dried, you can make this a lot richer by adding just a little bit more colour in here. Across this section here, I could add some more red coming down here. I'm going to make that looking streaky. Can you see how it makes this paint a little bit richer? I'm going to add a little bit more red into this sea down the bottom here. Straight lines of red going across there just makes it so much richer. Now that it's dry, you don't get so much blend. So there we go. Let's add a bit more colour into the sea. Straight lines across because I've got a fairly calm sea. A little bit more red in there. If I wanted to, I could add some more purple into the sky. So you have control over your colours once the first layer is dry. That's basically what it comes down to. So I'm going to add a bit more purple here. Let's have a look and see. Look how nice and rich that makes that sky. It's all up to you. This is your painting. You do what you want with it. So there, I've added a little bit more purple in there and changed that a touch, made it a little bit richer. At this point, I would say wait again until that background's a little bit more dry before you carry on. I'm going to carry on because I don't need to wait too much. I think the red will be fine if I've put the black on here. Let's have a look and see. So I'm going to try this out and see. Does that black come out a little bit blacker? Yeah, that's enough for me. I don't want it to be too dark. Just going to add a little bit of black across here. In lines, because that's a calm sea that I'm trying to project. There we go. So that's made a little darker. I can now add in my boats. My first boat. It's going to be on the left hand side here, going up beside the sun. So for that boat, I'm taking the same brush. You can use a thinner brush if it makes you feel more comfortable and more in control. I'm going to take the same brush and I'm going to give myself the basis of my boat. This boat, it's flat across the sea, so here we have it flat across the base of the sea here, the base of the boat, and I'm going to take the boat up like so and like so on that side there, and then fill in the center of the boat with black like that. So as long as I have a flat base, my boat goes up on either side like that. It's still a little light. Paint is a bit wet underneath it, so I think I'll come back and paint that again when it's dry. But at this point I can actually do the mast. Take a ruler, long paintbrush, whatever you have, to give yourself a straight line. Hold it away from your canvas, and if you hold it away from your canvas, you can put your paintbrush alongside it and draw it down in a straight line, as straight as you can make it, just to give you an idea of where the mast should go. I'm going to put it directly in the center of the boat, so it'll go from there. I'm going to give myself a line that goes down like that, using the tip of my brush. You can see it's slightly away from the canvas, so I'm not putting it against the wet canvas, and I've got a line. It gives me an idea of where I want to paint the sail. Okay, so from here I now need to paint the sail of this boat. I'm going to take that same brush. The sail of my boat, this boat is going to be blowing into this direction, so the front of the boat is there and the spinnaker of the boat will be on this side. So my sail, the actual sail, I'm putting on the left-hand side. This sail will come down to just above the boat itself. And then for that, I want this side of the sail, using that brush again, as I used before, I want it to go from the tip of that mast down to there. You can see it's not 100% straight. It won't be. It's made of material, so as long as it's straight enough. I'm going to now paint all of this in black. Just has to be straight enough to look like a sail. Paint that all in black because it's in silhouette, like so, and it's going down to the boom across the mast here. The spinnaker is tied to this, so the spinnaker will come out this side, probably about the same level, maybe a little bit lower. And I want this to, it'll probably come from about here on the side of the mast, and it's going to billow out away from the mast. So I'm going to do a line that billows out slightly away from the mast and allows me to see some sunset in between the mast and this sail. That's going to be in a point from the top there, and then I'm going to make it get a bit thicker and wider and come down here. I'm going to take it all the way down actually because it's tied lower. So there we have that spinnaker just coming slightly out. You can make it thick, thin, it's up to you. I'm doing mine along those lines. It's like a dowel. I've painted a dowel. Make that a little bit thicker. This has a shadow, a reflection in the water. Now the water's fairly smooth this nice pleasant evening, so to give myself a reflection I'm going to do an equal and opposite boat like that underneath. The reflection of this boat is almost the same as what you see above. What I will do after this is, because water is always rippling, I've left a little bit of a gap in between the base of the boat and where the reflection starts, because there is always some reflection from the water coming up onto the base of the boat. There'll be just a mark in between the shadow and the boat itself. My mast, because it goes up this way, will come down that way, and I have the reflection of the sail looking like that. You can see now I've got a little bit of a ripple coming in here. I haven't painted a straight line. I'm going to put a little bit of a ripple in the reflection there as well by adding a few little edges to that boat. You can even add one or two here. There's a ripple in the water. The spinnaker now will come out, this other sail will come out this way, so you'll still see a reflection of the sun in between, and I'm going to make a reflection that looks like that. So it's a little bit more bitty than at the top there, because this water is rippling like so, but you can see it's definitely a reflection of that boat. I think I have a gap here. I think I could possibly put another boat in the back here. So on the horizon I'm going to do a boat that looks like that. It's just one sweep of my brush there. I don't need to use a ruler here. If you want to, you go ahead and do it. But I'm going to paint a line that's almost straight down to there, down to the middle of the boat, and do the same thing as I've done here, just on a smaller scale. So I'm going to give this boat a sail that goes from the left hand side right up to the top, and paint that in with black for my silhouette, and give this one a nice billowing sail coming down this way, like that. My mast goes a little bit higher. And let's give this one a little bit of a reflection as well, so let's do a little bit of a reflection here. It's going to go up to a point there. So I've got a reflection of what I'm seeing above. The reflection is below as well. Now you can take your time and go and smooth everything up and make it all a lot smoother than I have done it. I don't think my painting needs it. I've done a lot of sweeping lines in this painting. I don't think it needs to be perfect in any way. So I'm going to leave it like that. Wash the brush off, dry it off, and I'm going to now add some white. Let's add some more white into my sun there. Can add a few nice sun lines around it like that. And from here I'm going to put some of that reflection of that sun into the water. So load up some white on your brush and some reflection of that sun coming down this way. The water's rippling, so you can see it's not 100% into a triangle coming down towards you. I'm putting a few lines here and that'll come towards me like so. I also would like to have, I think, a few highlights in my sail, so with white again, or you can use a pale yellow. So let's add some yellow to the white, and with that I'm going to add a few little highlights in these sails like so. Not 100% yellow, not 100% black or white, maybe one or two in there as well, not many. See, just a little bit to highlight those sails. And I'm going to put a line of highlight across the top of the boat, like that. So a highlight line across the top, because the sun is hitting the top of that boat, like so. You can actually, because you've got some highlights in the sails, you can actually put a few highlights into the sail reflections as well. Not necessary, but if you want to, you can. There we go, just a little touch of that. And that basically is done. I could, and you can, go and touch up a little bit of the sky if you want. Maybe even use some white in the sky, put a few lines of sun in this area here, just to highlight that. Maybe a few on this side, just to lighten up that sky a little bit. It's a nice sunset scene. Another thing we can do, add some birds. For that, I'm going to go and use a very small brush, very thin brush. Is that thin enough? Not quite. Let's use a thin brush here, and with that brush now I'm going to add some birds. My birds are flying over this area here, so let's put a few birds in here. Birds! It's an upside down smile for one wing, like that, and then equal and opposite on the other side. Let's make another bird here, which is not quite flying in the same direction with the same wingspan. There. Maybe another one. What do you think? Let's do another small bird in the background. It's your painting. You do what you want. I'm going to do a little bird in the background there. A little bit further away than these two. And bobble across the bottom of those wings there to give it a body, and that's my picture. Last thing to do, never forget to sign your painting. So let's do that quickly. There we go, sign mine there. Right, I hope you enjoyed that. It's a very light, uplifting, beautiful colour picture, so go ahead and try it at home, and we'll see you next time.